What's up, my gloriously grilled pineapples? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today we are back with another installment of the Weekly Nightwave, the series where we take a look at this week's acts and find the most entertaining or most efficient way to take them on. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a Warframe of the week, but I have something a little bit juicier. We have a Warframe topic of the week, and this has to deal with something a little bit intense, a narrative that absolutely needs to stop, so be prepared to share the love. Now, of course, this wouldn't be Nightwave if we did not have the weekly watch list, and it's a very short one this time around, but it does kind of sort of jump all over the place. But before we jump into that, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got this time around. Now, this one is just something, for some reason, I just can't get myself to do, which is expressive. Play one emote. Don't ask me why, but I said this on the stream earlier. I was supposed to do it then, and I still haven't done it. Then we have smaller is bigger. I don't think that that's true at all, but kill 150 enemies with a secondary weapon. But the secondary weapons in-game are pretty fucking boss. Moving along, we have Cache Hunter, or Cache Hunter, whichever one makes you feel spicier in the pantaloons, which is find all caches in 3 sabotage missions. We have Conservationalist, which is complete 6 different perfect animal captures in the Orvalis, and I'm definitely not going to be doing. We also have Eximus Eliminator, which is kill 30 Eximus. Then, moving along, we have Saboteur, complete 3 sabotage missions, which just happens to go very well with the Cache Hunter. Then we have the Venus Fisher, which is catch 6 rare servo fish in the Orvalis. We have Profit Taker, just kill Profit Taker, easy peasy. And last but not least, which is the Sortie Expert. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Sortie Expert is one of my least favorite ones because of the fact that it's a multi-day mission. I kind of like this Profit Taker one because it's like one step and boom, it's done. However, this one is like, oh, I've got to remember to do it 3 days? I can barely remember to do it on a daily basis. I don't even do it on a daily basis. So me personally, that is I'm not going to skip it. I'm going to do it because I want to knock it out. And I'm so close to getting another Umbra Forma, which I have not spent on anything. Let me know if you guys have actually spent your Umbral Forma on anything at all yet. Me personally, I haven't done jack shit. Now, let's go ahead and move in to the juicy topic that I was mentioning at the very beginning of the video, which is this really frustrating narrative that I ran into in some of the Railjack videos that we've seen. Now, as you guys know, I've definitely been very, very staunch on the fact that, you know, there are some criticisms that need to be aimed at DE, but there are also some positive things that need to be aimed. However, some people have this weird narrative of the Warframe community is never satisfied with anything that DE does, and then it goes in even further with the White Knighting to say, the veterans are salty veterans, you're just a bitter, salty veteran. And I'm like, listen, there's a place where we can feel free to criticize something if something does not seem or does not look right. And of course, if any of the criticisms are unfounded, then okay. Let's talk bitter, let's talk angry, but I don't feel like I tend to fall in that space, except for maybe like #trashbag, but to me, that's now a running joke at how terribly, horribly unplayable that bullshit is. However, instead of kind of like focusing in on that negativity, somebody actually asked in, you know, the comments, I felt like in a sarcastic way, well, what do you like? I'm sure that they were probably not that bad about it, but I was like, why don't we go ahead and share a list of the things that we like in Warframe? Because here's the thing, a lot of people love to tote around the phrasing salty, bitter veterans, but bitch, we've stayed for a reason, right? Especially the dedicated players out there. There's a lot of things that we don't like in Warframe, but there's a lot of good too. So I figured let's go ahead and talk about that today, specifically because of the fact that I didn't get to do a Thanksgiving video and tell you guys all the things that I was thankful for. So this is a little bit of a 1-2 for you guys. So the very first thing that I wanted to go ahead and share that I really liked in Warframe, especially because they released it fairly recently, which is Disruption. I really enjoyed that game mode. It's very engaging. It can be very well, I won't say difficult, but it is one of those things that you have to like be in the game to do. Like, there are a lot of times where I'll be playing Warframe, but I won't really be playing Warframe. I'll be listening to music, I'll be watching something on Netflix, you know? Like, I won't really be here, right? Even on stream, I'm not necessarily here. I'm more like in chat talking to my stream. But Disruption is one of those ones where I'm like, shh, I'm trying to hear the blibbity bloops. I'm trying to look to see where this thing is going to appear on my screen. So having that kind of like need for focus, I really do appreciate. I don't really find their game mode to be rewarding in and of itself. Like, they need to up their bussy up when it comes to their games, and I'm completely excluding Kuva Disruption for this because that game mode is not worth having at all unless you're gonna bump up the amount of Kuva that actually comes from it. It needs to be competitive with Kuva Survival, and right now it's not. But the core Disruption in and of itself is really good, especially since they kind of like upped the rarity rating for some of the relics that dropped and included vaulted relics in there. So I think that's a great thing. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is Interception. Now, I always hear a lot of people talking about, you know, survival and defense being like their favorite game modes, but a lot of people like to shit on Interception, and I kind of love Interception. I like it because it makes you change the way you play, and it also requires different types of frames because, you know, there are certain frames that are necessary for, well, not necessary, but optimal for different game modes. You can really make a lot of different things work here, but in Interception, it really requires you to have zone control and CC and all of that kind. Well, it doesn't require you to, but other frames shine. That's what I want to say. Other frames shine in that game mode as opposed to standard ones. In addition to that, I actually really love Archwing Interception. In fact, like I stated in one of my previous videos, that is like my third favorite game mode in the entirety of the game. So even above Survivals is Archwing Interception. Absolutely freaking love it. I love flying around my Archwing, zipping around to different spots and like capturing and holding them. Love it. It's fantastic. In fact, I like Archwing in general. Now, I was actually looking at it with my stream, and the reason that I don't play Archwing is because DE hasn't updated many of the rewards from there. In fact, if you look at the drop tables, it's kind of like, well, once I've got all of my Archwing wads, what's the reason to come back? There are no resources in there that are like really, you know, worthy of having, like Kuva, even like maybe some Syndicate medallions like Aura Forma. There's nothing in there that really calls to us to return to those nodes, and I think that if DE refreshed them, it would be a really fun game mode with really cool things in it that we could earn and hang out in, right? It's a nice change of pace. So that I'm definitely fond of. The next one, you're actually looking at a couple of them. I love my Hema. I love the Lado Prime. I love the Skana Prime. Of course, I'm a big fan of Excalibur Prime, Loki Prime, Loki Deluxe. In fact, DE is really doing well on many of the deluxe skins. They proved a ton of people wrong when it came to the Equinox skin, and I think it had to do with the textures. But once they managed to like pull it all together, I'm kind of loving it. You know, everybody loved the Neja Empyrean skin. Their art team is just very strong, and it goes to show because we've got the new Avara Prime coming up, as well as the Avara Deluxe, which are both worked on the same by person. I can't even speak the grammar right because Skyers is so absolutely talented and amazing. So their art team, I absolutely freaking love, and the fact that DE is willing to let the person who initially did the design for Avara also do the Prime and do the Deluxe skin, it's just like, it's like a coming home moment, and it just warms my soul. So I really love that. And the other thing that I love is the expansion on different types of bodies that are not necessarily represented in a lot of the gaming space, right? We've seen Hildren come into play. I mean, technically we had our Zarias, but like if we even look at it, Neja is the physical representation of a child in the game, right? And so the way they kind of swapped up his body type is really cool. Limbo, we've got our tall, lanky dude, representation for all of our lanky dudes out there. We have Grendel, who got a little bit of curve to his body. So I think that that's absolutely fantastic. I really love that. And going along with that theme, let's take a look at the voice actors that are here in Warframe. They have some amazing voice actors. Teal Regor, Neth Anyo, you know I love me a little bit of Lucas. And then this time around, we're also getting Nora Knight, which I think is not only a fantastic character, but I love the voice acting from it. Like, it's not necessarily a voice that we hear much in the world of Warframe, so it's great to have a little bit of twang, a little bit of flavor, and I'm kind of really feeling it. Next up, I actually really do like Nightwave. I know that there's a lot of people that feel like it's like homework or it's grindy, it's not great, but I like the fact that we have linear progression through it. We can clearly see what rewards we're working to and how long it's going to take us to get there. DE's also been pretty good at being transparent about how long each Nightwave is going to last, so you have an idea of how much work you need to do, but in the majority of times, you don't necessarily have to be completely on top of it to get all of it done. There is a little bit of leeway, and you can recover, I was blending the two words together, you can recover old mission types that you haven't, didn't get to previously, so that way you could still earn things back if you really felt like you wanted to go ahead and grind something out. So I really like that. The only thing that I do have to say in critique, because here's the thing, I can love something and also critique it at the same time, is that when it comes to the most recent intermission, they really need to do something about repeat rewards for the dedicated players, the players who are still playing. Maybe like, a little bit of a selection tab where, oh, instead of, this armor set, let's give you 3 Forma. You know what I mean? Because you've already got the armor set. That would definitely be really nice if they implemented that. The other thing that I liked is the Cobots. Cobots are absolutely fantastic. I think that their design is really beautiful. I love the way the Vaska Cobot looks, but just the way it looks. Its mechanics are complete and utter failure. But I can still say that I like how it looks, right? And in that kind of like vein of liking something, but understanding that there's still parts that need to be worked on, is the Coolidge system. I know that there are some people that are not fond of the RNG involved with it. I'm not fond of the RNG involved with it. However, DE is looking at ways to be able to trade them out, to be able to maybe make one go away if you've got some repeats that you don't necessarily want to deal with. But the thing that I love the most about the Coolidge system, right, is the fact that you are seeing DE really make sure that they fine-tune it. Because so many times in the past, DE has literally put out like a mission and left it there to die. Hasn't done anything to tweak anything, kind of like Kuva Disruptions. It's like we put it out, no, we don't need to tune this, no, we don't need to tweak this, we'll just leave it as it is. However, for Kuvaliches, they've turned the fuck around and said, okay, we gotta do X, Y, and Z to make sure that this is right. Oh, we're getting feedback on this, even in our Empyrean stream, let's go ahead and touch on the fact that we are still making changes. So that's definitely something that I've absolutely loved for that. All in all, I think that it's absolutely fantastic for the fact that it's very encapsulated. It's like, I can knock out a Lich in like 2 hours and, be watching some HBO in the background, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily, like, that's the great thing about Warframe. Some mission types require you to be all there, like Disruption, and there are some types that, like, let you watch HBO in the background. And that wraps up my list of things that I really like. Those are, to me, the best things in Warframe, and show, yes, there are plenty of things that I enjoy. However, I also enjoy things outside of Warframe, which include our watch list. So I'm going to be honest with you. I did a whole lot of ramblings. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. There's really nothing new. I'm still working on, not working on, but I'm watching Watchmen and his Dark Materials weekly. However, the only thing that I'm really adding on to the watch list is, of course, as many of you guys know, DE flops at the movies, except for the Wonder Woman trailer that they recently put out. Wow, looks like that one's going to be good. But they do a lot on the TV series. So there's Flash, The Arrow, there's Supergirl, like all of that crazy bullshit that they've got going on over there. Now, I particularly don't care about any of those shows. The only show that I do care about is Legends of Tomorrow. That is just a weird, wacky show, and if you've never watched it, I highly suggest you go check it out. I believe you can watch some on Netflix. I don't know, there are plenty of ways to watch things these days, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to mention anything, but there are lots of legal ways and, you know, other ways to watch Legends of Tomorrow. But that is one of my favorite series just because it gets really fucking wacky. Someone turns into a cat, there's a unicorn that stabs things, this Asian girl falls for like a werewolf. It's weird, but they embrace the weird and I appreciate them for that. Now, the reason that I bring that up is because the next season when they launch, they're actually starting off with a big event. Now, the whole DC universe on TV, they do a lot of crossover events, and this time around, they're going to be doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, basically, there's going to be the Anti-Monitor that comes around that threatens all of the multiverses out there. Oh my god, I'm such a geek. But anyway, what ends up happening is there's this crazy storyline that goes on where all of these different superheroes from different, or all of the same superheroes, but they're different because they're from different dimensions, they all come together. So the thing that really got me is there's a character on, on Legends of Tomorrow that plays the Atom. His name is Brandon Routh. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Brandon Routh also played Superman in the movies. So what they're gonna do as one of the cool things during Crisis of Infinite Earth is Brandon Routh is gonna be playing the Atom from Legends of Tomorrow and also Superman as in the Superman from the movies, and they're also gonna bring in Tom Welling from Smallville to be his Superman. So there's two Supermen right there, and then there's the Superman that comes in from the Supergirl series, and I'm like, I'm kind of loving this. But the most interesting fact of all of it is if you know about Crisis on Infinite Earths, I believe that both Flash and Supergirl die in it. Now here's the thing. Flash is still contracted, he's still acting, and so is Supergirl, so I'm very curious to see what they do and who dies in their place, because somebody gotta die. You know, on those big shows, somebody gotta die when it comes to these events, so I'm very curious to see how it all goes down. If you guys have been watching any of it, because I know it's already started, I need to catch up on it, but I'm kind of geeking off over it. Geeking out because of it. I think that's a more appropriate term. If you guys have been watching it so far, let me know down in the comments below. But that is gonna do it for me for now. And y'all, wait, if you haven't watched the last episode of Watchmen, oh, it ends on a really interesting note. So that's gonna do it for me for now. Let me know down in the comments below what the best things in Warframe are to you. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.